Hi, everyone. George Christie here with Wine Industry Network. Welcome to another episode of the Win Educational Webinar Series. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about texting as a communications tool. We're starting to slowly but surely see more wineries embrace texting as another form of communication, another channel that they can use to interact with their consumer, and just how effective it can be. Today's session is titled Text Enable Your Winery, the complete how-to guide. It's sponsored by Redshirt, and today's presentation is going to be given by Jenny Gilbert. Jenny's the founder at Redshirt. She's got a really interesting presentation. She's going to share some really interesting statistics about just how effective texting can be. She's going to talk a little bit about the Redshirt platform and how easy that platform makes it for your winery to start adopting texting as another form of communication. Now, before we begin, as is always the case, we want to make sure our sessions are as interactive and as engaging as possible. So to that end, Jenny pre-recorded her presentation a couple of days ago. But the good news is she's watching this session just like you are. She's in the chat room. So if you have questions, you don't need to wait until the very end. You can submit those questions and Jenny will pick those questions off as they come in. So please take advantage of that. Once again, I want to thank everyone for your time. I want to thank Jenny and Redshirt for your sponsorship. And I think it's time to hand over the virtual stage to Jenny and let her take it from here. Take it away, Jenny.
Thank you so much for having me, George. I'm so glad that all of you took time out of your busy lives to come learn with me today. Now, keep in mind, I will be available for questions during the live broadcast. So ask them as we go in the live chat. And also feel free to reach out to me at the end if you'd like a copy of this recording or the deck. Now we've got a lot to cover today, so let's get started. I text, you text, my husband's 87-year-old grandmother texts. Not always the right thing to the right person, but she does primarily communicate with us by text. And texting isn't just for friends and family anymore. Overwhelmingly, consumers express that they want to text with the businesses they love. On top of all that, texting gives you as a business some really significant advantages. First, it's fast. And it turns out how quickly you respond and how fast you are actually matters a lot to consumers. 94% of consumers report they think a business that responds quickly is a better business overall, whether that's true or not. And 85% of consumers report that in competitive situations, they're significantly more likely to do business with whoever replies to them first. It's a simple concept with a huge impact. And texting is one of the easiest ways to get faster, or in nerdy business speak, to improve your speed to lead. Now, right now, texting can be a huge competitive advantage for a business like yours because 81% of consumers report they're more likely to do business with a company that they can text with. But if we could fast forward just a few years, at that point, texting will become table stakes, as expected as the ability to call or email your business is today. And not just any mass market off-the-shelf business texting software will work for your particular compliance burdens. Many of them actually just flat out consider messages about alcohol prohibited content on their networks. So it's critical that highly regulated businesses like yours get started getting experience and growing your opt-in text list now so you're ready for the future. Now, I had the honor of being on a panel about connecting with digital natives at the Win Expo last December. And as I'm sure you can imagine, there were lots of conversation and data point and positive examples from the audience about texting. And at the end of the panel, one gentleman got the mic and he said, I hear all of you, I should be texting my customers, but how the bleep do I do that? And I thought that he nailed it. So many DTC experts that I talk to understand they need to be doing this, but it is not immediately obvious how to get started or how to optimize the texting platform. So that's exactly what we're going to dive into today. The nitty-gritty details about how the bleep to do it and what really works for wineries like yours. So let's start that with inbound communication. My favorite way to let people know that they can text you is with RedChirp's web chat feature. It looks like this. You have a question, text us here. The best part is that unlike traditional web chat, no one on your team has to log in and monitor it all the time. Just go about your life. We'll text you if you're needed. When a prospect fills it out, we'll text you. You can click on that link in there and respond right from your phone. Or if you like me, I always hear my phone first. And then I hop over to the computer to reply because I'm a much faster typer there. Now, in case anyone was worried, RedChirp will never send you those notifications to your phone at inappropriate times. So you won't get them in the middle of the night or on days that you're not working. And even if you do choose to reply from your cell phone, RedChirp will never share your personal cell phone with customers. And we'll talk a lot more about phone numbers later in the presentation. Now, you also get to control who's notified about these requests. You can even send requests about one thing, like visiting, to different people than requests about something else, like membership questions. In this example, I have told RedChirp, when someone wants help with visiting, notify Bob and Mary simultaneously. If no one's answered in 5 minutes, notify them again. If I've done this twice and still no one has answered, then move on to stage 2 and notify Jill. You can make this as simple or as sophisticated as you would like. And some important things to note is that once somebody replies, we stop notifying anyone. So you can safely include people in these later stages where it's not their primary responsibility to reply to these, but they can jump in and help if they're needed. Also, we'll never notify anyone when they're not working. And it is absolutely impossible to step on each other's toes within 1/100th of a second. Once somebody replies, no one else will be able to. Now, all of this, what it does in real life is it makes it really, really easy for your team to reply quickly. So across RedChirp, we see that about half of all web chat requests are replied to in less than 5 minutes, and basically all of them in less than 30. And these are being done by teams that didn't add any additional staff. They just have access to a better tool. Now, RedChirp Web Chat also makes it easy to maximize your after-hour leads as well. We've measured that for most wineries, about 30% of web leads come in outside of traditional business hours. And because of that, we recommend that you accept them in 24/7. Customizable auto responses like these will go out automatically. So a consumer who fills this out at midnight will know their request has been received and when you'll be able to reply. And because you're transitioning someone from the website to a text conversation, the pressure is off. They don't have to be on your website anymore the next morning when you are able to reply. And all these requests are kept in your web chat report. So it's trivially easy to see every request that has come in. All the details about each, including their name and who else they've texted to, what they wanted help with, who we notified or why we didn't notify someone, any auto responses, and always a link to the actual conversation that took place, which anyone on your team can read, even if it wasn't them that had the conversation. And finally, RedChirp fixes one of the biggest problems with traditional web chat by moving that conversation from the browser to being over text instead. And that gives you some key advantages. First, you can continue that conversation as long as you want, for days even. It also puts your business directly in the text history of some of your best customers. And the best part, even though consent is not required for this particular type of interaction, we still take the opportunity to gather express written consent for future marketing text messages every time someone fills out web chat. That organically grows your opt-in list over time, and it's a very high quality list. These are people that clearly like to text with you in your business. Now, RedChirp and Wise got together and arranged a 60-day case study with 3 wineries of very different sizes. And we tested lots of things about inbound and outbound texting. Now, I'm not going to go over everything we learned in that case study, but I do want to share some of the most interesting things that we learned about web chat specifically. So with access to POS data for Judd's Hill, the smallest of the 3 in the study, and Hess Persson, the largest, we were able to do a very conservative analysis. We looked at everyone who initiated web chat and then went on to make a wine purchase using the exact same phone number and just within those 60 days. We could attribute 34 purchases for just shy of $11,000 to web chat for Judd's Hill, and 116 purchases for a total of over $72,000 for Hess Persson. But even more interesting than the sales themselves was the average age of consumer that purchased that way. Now, maybe I shouldn't have been given my position, but I still was surprised to see that the average age of consumer who initiated a web chat to text conversation with Judd's Hill and then bought wine was 61, and a very similar 56 for Hess Persson. And here's a quick little quote from Ray at Hess Persson about his findings after the case study and seeing these numbers. Now, we have talked about inbound texting. Let's flip to outbound strategies. You already know this. People don't pick up the phone anymore. Even this hiker that got lost in the Rockies last October, he wouldn't pick up calls from search and rescue because he assumed that they were spam. It made the national news. I don't know if you got a chance to see that. So yeah, people don't like to pick up the phone. But do you know what they dislike even more than phone calls? Voicemail. We did this consumer research project in Q4, and we were truly expecting to find significant behavior differences by generation. But what we found was actually, no, everybody hates voicemail equally. So where does that leave you? When you call people, they don't pick up. And then their voicemail's full or not set up at all. If you do get to leave a message, the data is really sad about how long, if ever, it will take them to listen to your voicemail and return it. So many DTC teams rely heavily on phone communications, but the data is clear. It's not what our customers want, and we must find a better way to connect with them. Every DTC team should be texting with people as well. RedChirp users report that they save an average of 5 to 6 hours every week on time that they were previously wasting on phone tag. There are 2 things that converge to help you do that. First, you can text about 10 people in the time it takes to call just one. And then on top of that, people see and reply to their text messages so much faster. Now, every winery I know has to gather payment information from their customers sometimes, whether that's for a specific transaction or to update the information that they have on file for their membership. But doing that is easier said than done. It's really hard to get people to see your emails about it. Even if they do see it, I'm not really sure why, but people really resist logging into their accounts. And if you call, as we just discussed, people don't pick up. RedChirp lets you securely request and collect payment information by text. The process of doing that is awesome for everyone involved. It's much more secure for you than doing this over the phone, and it's more convenient for your customers too. When you're having a conversation in RedChirp, just click Request a Payment and fill out this little form. The label is just for you. You can choose if it's a one-time payment or for a subscription. Select what kind of address information you need, and I always recommend that you gather their birth date. Once you click send, it texts them. Enter your secure payment info here. And this is what it looks like for your customers. When they click on that link, it takes them to a branded and totally secure web page specific to just this one request. They don't need to log into anything. It only takes a few seconds to enter and send their information. If they've got their credit card saved in their browsers, like most people, it can autofill. And they can even use their camera on their phone to grab this information like you do for Uber. Because it's so convenient, you'll get this information back really fast. The stats on this are incredible. Across the Redshift network, 42% of all payment requests come back in less than 10 minutes, and 98% in less than 24 hours. And it's a lot easier than it sounds. Because Redshift is securely gathering the information, but not charging it on your behalf, it works with any processor. There are no extra fees at all. It is 100% PCI and DSS compliant. And you are in full control of who has access to this feature. There are actually 4 levels of payment permission that you get to set on a per user basis. And here's a real life example of how quick and easy it was for this winery to collect payment for a sale that all happened over text as a result of a bulk message. Okay, so far we have talked about incoming and outgoing text conversations, but they've all have been to one person at a time. Redshift also allows you to send bulk messages to dozens, hundreds, or even thousands of your customers at once. And that can streamline all kinds of operational tasks and be a powerful way to reach people about promotions. In this section, I'm going to share real-life bulk messages that will help you plan your communication strategy. So many wineries have had tremendous success sending a bulk message to everyone that needs to update their card on file before a club shipment. Charles Krug sent this one. They actually did an A/B test. They emailed half and texted half of their club members in this situation. Setting up the bulk text was super easy. They got an Excel sheet from their POS and uploaded it into Redshift. That takes just a few clicks. Redshift automatically validates the phone numbers, so you know exactly who you can text and who you can't, because maybe you only have a landline on file for them. Redshift can dynamically insert information in your text, like the last 4 digits of a credit card, so it feels very personalized, even though Redshift sent all 110 of these text messages at once. Now, a text like this is not going to solve 100% of your updates, but in this case, it did get 20% of their list taken care of in just a few hours. Plus, they did a great job of using outcome tracking in Redshift as well. You can create your own custom outcomes for any particular bulk message. And then you can quickly track those as you go along. And it gives you a nice organized list of what's happened in one spot that's easy to export to Excel and keep track of. Now, once you've updated as many cards as possible, you can then use Redshift to text everyone, or maybe just the people who didn't open your emails, that club shipments are about to go out. I've seen messages like these bring back really helpful replies like address changes, payment updates, or my favorite, adding wine to their shipment. Now, after your club shipment, you can also use Redshift to contact everyone that you weren't able to successfully charge. I really like the way that Tracy at Kubesan chose to word this particular message. We weren't able to process your shipment. Let's take a moment to update that. And she gave them 3 possible ways to do that. You can log into your account, or I can text you a secure link using Redshift's payment request feature, or let me know if you prefer that I call you. This feels like such a helpful white glove experience to the consumer. Now, I checked in with Tracy just a few hours after she sent this message, and this is what she wrote me back. She was so happy that she had a lot less phone calls to make. And I also thought it was interesting how she noted, as a result of the text message, A few people called her back, and that all works seamlessly in Redshirt. And she got to have some really nice phone calls that just further strengthened that relationship. Okay, if you have local club members that pick up their shipments, then I bet you sometimes struggle with delinquent pickups that are hanging around. We put together this bulk message for Bergstrom's, and because it was their first bulk message, I offered to get on Zoom with them and help them put it together and send it out. And I wanted to share with you a recording of that Zoom call, just the 30 seconds right after we hit send.
This is great. I feel like people I said, I really like this. Here's my text. I just got it in my personal.
Great. And I marked these 3 as unread just so that you can go at your own pace, reading. And I do recommend replying to everyone unless they don't want you. Hey, 2 more ships.
All right. Oh this is so different than emails, Vanessa. This is so different.
My headset, the beeping, it's me, it's like going nuts.
This is so different than emails, I'm telling you, because people don't look at their email real time and phones.
Oh, Shauna, look at all these ships.
I thought that would give you a really great idea of, how quickly these requests come in, because we all are connected to our phones physically and emotionally and hear our texts right away. And I loved this, one more example of an operational bulk text message. Aridus Wine Co., they launched a new type of club. They knew that their members wanted it, but it's still hard to get the word out about new things. So they put together this bulk text message about it, and they used another great Redshirt feature in it, keyword auto-responses. They set it up so whenever a customer texted back Reds only, Redshirt would automatically text them, thanks, Kimberly, I'll take care of getting you switched over to the Reds only option. This gave the customer instant gratification and peace of mind, and it also really took the pressure off their team. They could go back and process these at their convenience. And an extra bonus, you get great reporting using this feature as well. So you can go and view and export reports on demand to see everyone who texted back that keyword. As you can see from the report for Aridus, they got an awesome response to this message. These are all the people that texted that back within just a couple hours. Now, before we switch from talking about operational messages to talking about promotional messages, we're going to dig into some regulations and consent. But before we do that, the most important thing to know up front is Redshirt gives you all the tools you need to make something that could be very complicated really quite easy to manage. Now, these types of operational messages that we just finished looking at, they're generally considered informational messaging. While you are supposed to have consent for informational messaging, consent is very generously defined for these types. For example, even verbal consent is acceptable when it comes to informational messaging. Now, because of that, most wineries feel comfortable sending operational messages like these without any special written consent on file, which you should have for promotional messages. Your club members gave you their phone number so you could communicate with them about things related to their club. Now, that being said, for all kinds of bulk messages, no matter what kind they are, you should use good messaging manners. Now, very specifically to me, that means 4 things. First, make sure that you're texting people you genuinely believe want to receive that particular message. Then don't overdo it. Always include opt-out instructions. In my opinion, that's just polite. And the 4th one is you should honor people's opt-out requests. Now, speaking of opt-outs, Redshirt really handles that all for you. If someone texts a universal keyword like stop, we will automatically and immediately opt them out. You'll know because a big banner like this appears at the top of the conversation and any new ones that your team members might initiate in the future with this person. They'll appear in your opt-out status table with full details. Did the system opt them out or a person? When did that happen? And any notes along the way. And because sometimes people are a little more polite and they might text, I'd really prefer you email me instead, you also can manually opt anyone out or in anytime. Most importantly, you do not have to painstakingly track your opt-outs anywhere else. Whenever you want to send a bulk message, just include every recipient you would like to text. And Redshirt will automatically make sure that it never sends a bulk message to anyone who is currently opted out. Okay, now that we know a little bit more about consent and opt-outs, let's take a look at some examples of promotional bulk messages. In all of your promotions, I have found that the more specific you can get, the more effective the message is. I really liked this one from Corsi Graves about a new release of a wine, which they specifically sent to customers that had purchased a certain amount of a similar wine before. If you can make your customers feel like someone in the tasting room remembers them, knows what they like, took time out of their day to pull out their personal phone and text them about it, now that is a really special experience for your customers. And you can move a lot of wine when you make people feel that way. Now, this same concept here works great for when you're about to sell out of something as well. And I've even seen great promotions like this after you sell out of something. Northwest Cellars, they offered fans of a particular wine that had sold out an earlier vintage of it that they had a few cases left of, to hold them over until the next year was released. And that worked very nicely for them. Now, a flash sale is one of, in my opinion, very few good reasons that you might want to message maybe all of your members, because there's an urgency to it. There's a good reason that you're texting them. I want to make sure that you saw this in case you missed the email, because it's only good until 9 a.m. tomorrow. This is a great example of one that Sokol Blosser did. And I loved this one too. It was very simple, last minute idea. The folks at Charles Krug sent this message out. Can I help you with any holiday gift orders? They included helpful information about shipping deadlines and a shipping promotion they were already running. And from this very simple, easy to execute, kind of last minute idea, they told me they had 38 orders with an average order volume of over $445, and they sold over $17,000 worth of wine from just this one little bulk text message. Now, hopefully these very specific examples have gotten your creative juices flowing. Now we're going to talk about what phone numbers you should send these messages from. Now, first, even though you are welcome to use Redshirt on your personal phone, I do it all the time. It's super convenient. Redshirt will never, ever, 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 ever share your personal phone number with your customers. All the texts that you send through Redshirt come from your Redshirt phone numbers. And you have so many choices about what those numbers are. Redshirt phone numbers are real phone numbers that we get from the carriers, and you have all kinds of options. We can get you brand new numbers. You can then treat those numbers like your work cell, but without having to buy your team work cells and without having to carry around two phones, which is super inconvenient. When we get you a new phone number, they could be toll-free numbers, they can be local numbers. And if you want local numbers, which I definitely recommend for wineries, you get to pick from whatever is available in your local area code. Now, your Redshirt users, they can have their own individual Redshirt phone numbers, or several people can share a phone number, or you can mix and match and even do both. So I personally have actually 2 different Redshirt numbers that are all my own, and I'm part of a team. Now, if you have a few people share a number, we call those team numbers, and Redshirt elegantly simplifies what could be really confusing in other circumstances. When there's an incoming activity to a team number, Redshirt notifies everybody on that team who's available at the moment. And even though multiple people can text from that number, even on the same string with the same customer, RedChirp automatically tracks exactly who said what. So it is always supremely clear to you who said each message, and it just makes it very easy to use as a team. Now, I've seen some really creative uses for team numbers. One of my favorites, a winery has what they call the bat phone. We got them a brand new phone number that they don't advertise anywhere. They give this number to concierges and tour companies that they work with, and they tell them, use this number when you need a reservation, and it will help you reach all 3 of the people on the reservation team. So their important partners don't have to take time painstakingly going one-to-one to figure out who's available. It's worked very well for them, and it makes their partners feel very special. And instead of, or in addition to getting you new phone numbers, we can also usually text enable your existing landlines. And if you're at all interested in that, please follow up with me after. I'd be happy to look it up and tell you if that's possible for your landlines. I love for wineries to do this with their main landline and assign it to a team, like your customer service team. And almost always when I help a winery do that, what we find out is that people have been texting their main phone number. It just isn't going anywhere right now. Now, here at RedChirp, we love to build integrations to make your life even easier. It's always nice when your products talk to each other, right? We have off-the-shelf integrations with these systems, VinSuite, Commerce7, and eSeller. But don't worry if you don't see your POS up here. First, we add new ones all the time. Also, if you use a less industry-specific system, many integrations are possible with Zapier. And there are also many wineries that have great success using RedChirp without any integrations at all. We can, for example, preload all of your contacts in RedChirp, and it's easy to get them in with an Excel import anytime. And one of RedChirp's most requested features is to be able to also send automated messages to. When you're setting up an automated message, you customize your template and then let it run for you. In your templates, you can have RedChirp dynamically insert specific information for each message, like the customer's name, their order number, their tracking number, their tracking URL, the date and time of their reservation, etc. You can always choose whichever phone number you would like to send these messages from, any number in your account. You can also set the time windows of when these are allowed to go out. So you can rest assured you're not going to be texting someone too late on the East Coast, for example. Once you set up your template, which takes a few minutes, then you're done. RedChirp will do the rest and create and send these messages out automatically for you. Now, my favorite thing about automated messages in RedChirp is that even though the message itself is automatically generated and sent, it's sent from a regular phone number in your account. So if somebody gets that message, let's say that their wine is shipping and they have a problem, like, oh no, I forgot to tell you I'm going to be out of town, they can just write back. It's a regular number in your account that either belongs to a person or to a team of people. So RedChirp will let the right people know that someone is writing back, and then you can commence and have a real human-to-human, back and forth, two-way conversation about this, all in the exact same string. That process really creates an amazing, frictionless customer service experience for your customers. Now, we have talked about so much today. So here's just a quick review of the most important things that we've learned today. Yes, your customers want to text with you, even if your demographic skews towards older Gen X or baby boomers. Web chat is a great way to get started with texting, and it helps you organically grow your marketing opt-in list for future use. Texting can save your very busy, very lean DTC team hours every single week if they can use it in the course of their regular communications as just another tool available to them in addition to phone calls and emails. There is a better and a faster way to collect credit card information. You should be able to do that by text. Bulk operational messages sent by text are seen and replied to at phenomenal rates. We took some time to talk about the different types of messaging, the consent requirements for each, and opt-out automation, and how Redshirt makes that all very easy for you. And how Redshirt can accommodate whatever your particular phone number needs are. Text enabling your landline, local numbers, toll-free numbers, individual numbers, and team numbers too. And we touched a little bit on some of our integrations and automation features as well. If you are not already using Redshirt, we should get together over Zoom. I would love to learn more about your winery and show you around Redshirt. And I know that you're very busy, so please take advantage of this special promotion that we've put together. To thank you for your time, I'll send you a $50 gift card, your choice of any of these, right after our Zoom call. Now, it has been such a pleasure to share our expertise with you today. Don't forget to take advantage of our gift card promotion. To qualify, just go to this QR code or this URL and book a time to speak with me. You can do that anytime before the end of March, and you'll be able to pick any time to meet with me by the end of April. You're also welcome to email me, call me, or text me to set up that meeting, to get a copy of this recording or the deck. And I'm also happy to share with you the case studies that I referenced if you want to dive into more exact details about how other wineries around your size used Redshirt and how they measured effectiveness and return. Thank you again so much for having me, and happy chirping, everyone.